The vanishing of Crystal Rogers. The phone call came on July 3rd, 2015. Sherry Ballard answered and heard her daughter Crystal's voice, light and happy. Crystal was heading to her boyfriend's family farm for a kid-free night. Sherry hung up without a second thought. Why would she worry? The next day brought silence. No call, no text. By Sunday, Sherry was no longer worried. She was terrified. She called authorities not to report a missing person, but because somewhere deep in her gut, she already knew her daughter was gone. A mother's instinct rarely lies. Sherry had raised Crystal for 35 years. She knew her daughter's rhythms, her habits, her heart. When that phone went silent for 2 full days, Sherry understood something had gone terribly wrong. The calm of that Friday evening had shattered into something she could not explain, but could feel with every fiber of her being. Crystal's red Chevrolet Impala was found abandoned near mile marker 14 on the Bluegrass Parkway. The flat tire explained nothing. The keys remained in the ignition. Her purse sat on the passenger seat. Her phone rested there as if waiting for a call that would never come. Everything Crystal carried every day was right there. But Crystal was not. This was not a woman who walked away from her life. This was not a mother who abandoned her 5 children without a single word to anyone who loved her. The scene was staged. Someone had placed that car there, hoping it would look like Crystal had driven somewhere and simply walked away. But everyone who knew Crystal understood that was impossible. She would never leave her children. Crystal Maria Ballard was 35 years old, raised in Bardstown, Kentucky. She was a mother above all else. Her 5 children were her entire world. She did not go anywhere without them. The FBI would later state this exact detail in their official case profile. Her favorite color was pink, a small detail her family would use to keep her memory alive. Her sister Brooke called her best friend. Her parents, Tommy and Sherry, were the heart of everything she knew and loved. Crystal grew up in that small town where everyone knew everyone. She went to school there. She built her life there. And in the summer of 2015, she was navigating a complicated relationship while raising 5 children who adored her completely. Crystal was in a complicated relationship with Brooks Houck, a local businessman who owned 73 properties, worth nearly $13.5 million. They shared a young son named Eli, just 2 years old. 6 weeks before she vanished, Crystal sent Brooks a text saying she could not deal with how he treated her anymore. She was tired of being on the back burner. She wanted more from her life. She never got the chance to find what she was looking for. Brooks responded by asking her to come home, telling her that running from problems would not fix them. It was an ordinary exchange between 2 people in a relationship that was not working. But that text message would later be shown to a jury as evidence of where Crystal's heart was in her final weeks. On the evening of July 3rd, Crystal went to the Houck family farm with Brooks. At 11:57 p.m., her phone went dark. It was manually shut off. Brooks later told investigators he woke up to find Crystal gone and assumed she had gone out with friends. But digital forensics told a different story. Phone data placed Brooks at the farm in ways that contradicted his timeline. He did not leave when he claimed he did. Something happened at that farm between midnight and morning. No one who has been convicted in this case has ever publicly said what occurred inside that house. But the evidence suggests Crystal never left that farm alive. Her phone was turned off deliberately, not by accident. And Brooks Houck's story has shifted multiple times since that night. The abandoned car was a message, but not from Crystal. Someone had moved it. Stephen Lawson later admitted helping move the vehicle after Crystal disappeared. Witnesses testified about overheard conversations referencing $50,000 paid for moving a car. Another witness said Stephen Lawson told someone that Brooks had a woman with 5 kids who needed to be taken care of. When asked if that meant rehab, the response was chilling. I wish that was the case. The words hung in the air. They suggested something far worse than anyone wanted to believe. Joseph Lawson was also implicated. A former employee testified about Joseph making horrifying comments about pulling Crystal's teeth and letting hogs do the rest. The cover-up was elaborate and calculated. Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, formed Team Crystal, searching fields, woods, and roadsides. He gave interviews and attended vigils. He painted the town pink in his daughter's memory. On November 19, 2016, 16 months after Crystal vanished, Tommy was shot once in the chest while preparing for a hunting trip with his 12-year-old grandson. He died at the scene. His grandson was with him. Tommy Ballard was murdered while searching for his missing daughter. His killer has never been found. The FBI still offers a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the arrest of whoever pulled that trigger. The family that had already lost Crystal now lost Tommy too. Sherry Ballard buried her husband while still searching for her daughter. The FBI took over the case in 2020. They searched properties connected to the Houck family and tore up a concrete driveway at Woodlawn Springs subdivision. They found an item of interest but never publicly said what it was. A white Buick belonging to Brooks's grandmother contained a hair similar to Crystal's, and a cadaver dog alerted to the vehicle. A former employee testified about Joseph Lawson making horrifying comments about Crystal's remains and hogs. The evidence was mounting piece by piece. Investigators also received information that Joseph Lawson had been digging on a farm within 5 days of Crystal's disappearance, using construction equipment and burning wood in a large hole. That farm was searched, but no charges resulted from that specific location. In 2023, arrests finally came. Brooks Houck was charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence. Joseph Lawson was charged with conspiracy. In July 2025, after a 10-day trial with over 50 witnesses, Brooks Houck was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Joseph Lawson was also convicted. The jury did not need to decide if Brooks personally killed Crystal or directed someone else to do it. Either way, he bore criminal responsibility for her death. Justice had finally arrived, but it came with a heavy price. The defense argued there was no body, no murder weapon, no crime scene. But the jury was persuaded by the weight of circumstantial evidence. The cover-up told them everything they needed to know. In the courtroom, Sherry Ballard stood face to face with the man convicted of murdering her daughter. She told him he had received a lifetime in prison while she had received a lifetime of grief. Then she asked the question she has been asking since 2015. "Where is Crystal?" He said nothing. 3 men are convicted. 2 are appealing. Nick Houck faces a pending perjury charge, and Crystal Rogers has still not been found. The search continues. The question remains unanswered. Where is Crystal? Where did they put her? Until that question is answered, the Ballard family cannot truly heal. They cannot lay their daughter to rest. They cannot close this chapter of their lives. The search for Crystal Rogers continues,